back at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively into the summer months here. Folks are getting away. I got away last week, but I am back. The Maryland Crab Cake Tour is back out on the road, presented by the Maryland Lottery in conjunction with our friends at Goodwill and our newest sponsors at Window Nation, where you get 2 for 2 all month long with the mayor, Brandon Scott, at Next Phase Cafe this week. Also going to be down at Fadley's in Lexington Market, a place that this guy knows well. He loves to talk about his childhood in the 70s down at the market. We'll be at Fadley's on Wednesday. Dennis Koulatsos joins us now from Coons Baltimore Ford, and of course on Thursdays he'll be here taking you home from 3 until 5 on the Dennis Koulatsos Show. How are you, man? I mean, the last time we got together, I was just off a plane from Europe. I thought we were getting the World Cup here. I was ready to ask Lamar Jackson questions that I was going to get succinct, absolute answers about. And we were talking about the Orioles brothers fighting. But other than that, you've just been like off fishing, watching hoops, right?
Yeah, just been relaxing, and happy belated Father's Day to you and all the fathers out there. It was a wonderful, wonderful Father's Day weekend for all of us. But yeah, it's been a fun start to the summer so far. Weather's been great. Not a bad crab cake in town, Nestor. I've had, like you, lots of crab cakes, and hard to find a really bad one, right? The range is from good to great. And I think that says a lot about the Baltimore metropolitan area and the care that all these wonderful establishments put into making wonderful, wonderful crab cakes.
Yeah, my wife's going away for a couple of days. She's like, "You're going to eat a lot of crab cakes while I'm gone." I'm like, "Listen, I'm doing 31 to 31 days in August, so I'm not going over the top. I'm going to mix in, a little protein, some fish, a little veggies thing, or whatever here." I do want to talk to you about Lamar and the backside of all of this, because the last time you and I got together, he was practicing and had not done his press conference yet. I got 2 pretty succinct questions in. I would have made a pretty decent lawyer, as they've said to me. I don't act as the prosecutor on the air, but I do try to get to the bottom of the ish. And, at these press conferences, almost nonsense, right? I mean, like, literally, he said he might not show up for training camp. He said he didn't hold out of OTAs over contract. It's a chasing a tail thing and trying to make sense of something where he doesn't really want you to make sense of it, because it's not really sensible. I keep wondering, will he hold out and say 22 million is not enough this year? I need a real deal, because that's probably, it's all or nothing. You don't half hold out, right, if you're going to do that. So I am scratching my head about whether he's going to show up happily and play under his current contract, or whether he's not. And he didn't sound real succinct to me.
No, and Luke and I talked about the presser before it happened, and we didn't expect for him to give away any national secrets, and he played it very close to the vest. He kept repeating the same things over and over again, but that's pretty predictable of what we come to expect from the Ravens and its players. They run their operation secretly, almost like the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick up there. They're not going to give you a whole lot. They're not going to put a whole lot in the papers, in social media. So you have to read between the lines, Ness. But at this point, it's day by day for them. It sounds like it's day by day by Lamar, and things could also change in a hurry. But it was good to see him at OTAs. Good to hear him say he's going to meet with the receivers between now and training camp starts. By all indications, he's going to be there playing for $23 million this year. And unless it changes, right, which it's still a possibility that still may happen.
Well, the one thing I want to give him major props on, and this was the same thing that Flacco said to me a decade ago, and I'm re-releasing Purple Rain 1 and 2 out online with updated videos, pictures, audio, lots and lots of stuff. So that's going to be going on all summer long. But I mean, I remember Flacco saying, you just wait longer, and as long as you don't get broken in half, and as long as you can go play, you'll get it. I mean, Mitch Trubisky's got a gig, right? So I mean, yeah. But in the case of Lamar, had he taken the $80 million whenever they offered it, or the 84 million, whatever the number was, 91 million, it doesn't matter, right? He would have shorted himself a lot of guaranteed money. Now, I don't know that there's anything short of 231 million that gets him. I don't know that 150 million gets him right now. So he's made himself a lot of money by doing nothing. The whole hold out of the OTA things a couple of weeks ago, I'm still going to scratch my head about all that. It was certainly a little awkward when I said to James Urban, you're here talking about him working with another quarterback coach. Is that a little weird to you? And it should be weird to the organization that's paying him $23 million that that their coaching's not good. I mean, would you want one of the mechanics to I mean, you just wouldn't, right? Nobody would want that. And different people in his ear that may not be about what the team's program is. It's just, I'm scratching my head about negotiating for himself. All of this is a little weird, and I don't know what to make of that. It is very much a mystery to me, and I think it's a mystery to Eric DeCosta until it plays out. That if Lamar comes back and says, "Nah, I'm not going to practice till you pay me,"
Yeah.
well, we're going to fine you. Okay, fine. Like this is how the players that want out in their heart get out.
Well, on a positive side, Nestor, the flip side, he did give the team a lift by his appearance. Morale went way up. The receivers ran sharper routes. They held onto the ball better. He looked physically better. He's about 15 pounds heavier. So that added some muscle. Had zip on the ball, spun the ball real well, particularly to the tight end. So there's a lot of good stuff for him to build on. So let's
Well,
stay
are you a
positive.
pay the man, or are you Lamar? Don't play for 23 million. Don't do that. I mean, you shouldn't have to do that.
Again,
Get a current contract. They should marry you. It's time. This is, if it's your daughter. This is time for. It's time. We got to get married now. And if that's where Lamar is, then fair enough. I mean, I can't argue against that from his perspective. But that's a different tune than everybody was whistling a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Nestor, when I was a young man, I used to fight to resolve. At 58, I'd rather resolve than fight. So that would be my attitude talking to Lamar Jackson and
every
Eric
week you give
DeCosta.
me. Last week it was the elephants and the Indian proverbs. Hold on now.
Yeah, so I'd rather resolve than fight, rather than fight and resolve, because that's what happens is people, when they have conflict, they fight and they come to resolution. Well, I think it's superior if you just try to resolve it, right? It's not about winning. You don't have to win. You don't have to lose a negotiation. Let's resolve it. Let's find a happy medium. Yes, we don't want Lamar Jackson coming to camp at $23 million, risk an injury. What can we do, right? How can we bridge that? So I think that's the language that has to happen between both parties in the effort to put this thing together. And if I'm a mediator, that's exactly how I would mediate this thing, whether bridging that appearance with the Lloyds of London insurance policy paid by the Baltimore Ravens to show a faith, good faith, and maybe you insure them for $200 million. So that way you put the player's mind at ease in case of catastrophic injury. It's all about doing the right thing, Nestor, but that's how I would approach it if I was the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Dennis Koulatsos reading the works of Ron Shapiro there in The Art of Negotiation.
Is that what Ron? Is that what Ron wrote? I don't know.
Ron probably
I read his
wrote
book.
something like, I'm just a resolution. Just getting
just
to
resolve
resolution.
it, right? What is a resolution, right? As long as he wants to be in Baltimore, and that's the first thing. If you don't want to be here, then all bets are off. But and he did say he wants to be a Baltimore Raven. He wants to retire a Baltimore Raven. So if he really means that, let's put it together.
Well, that's why I asked
him
that question. Yeah, that's literally. I mean,
that's a wonderful foundation. Do you want to be here? Yes, I want to be here. Do you want the ring on the finger? I want the ring on the finger. Let's build on that. Let's put this sucker together, because he's worth more than $23 million a year. That's clear to. Yeah, Stevie Wonder can see that.
Well, I'm thinking about this. If I'm Bisciotti and I go in a room with him, the first thing I'd say is, "Do you want to be here?" Right? I mean, that's the first question I ask him. And the second question I ask him would have been the second question I'd ask him, Steve. It's like, look, there's another deal out there. Is that where we want this to start? Is that where if that's where you think this starts? That starts the negotiation. That tells me where we are.
But you know what? There's maybe another deal out there. That deal
but that is the first question you'd have to ask the young man if you're in if you're in a quiet room with him, right?
He did say he's his own man, right? So maybe he looks at the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers deals. Maybe he brackets himself between $45-50 million a year, with a guarantee, like you said, 150, 175. I think that's a good place for them to start or even finish negotiations.
Well, at 150 or 175 guaranteed, you just spent $75 million more than Bisciotti was willing to spend on Valentine's Day, literally.
Okay.
Right?
Well, but again, it's clear there's a huge drop off between Lamar Jackson, Snoop Huntley, and a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. The Ravens can't be relevant at this point without Lamar Jackson, because they don't have his replacement in house. When they had Joe Flacco, they had his replacement in house. At this point, the Ravens, we saw what they are without Lamar Jackson, a very pedestrian, mediocre team. He elevates them into the upper echelon of the NFL.
Well, let's see if they pay him. Dennis is here.
I would pay him.
Is there any other residue on the baseball thing on the backside? Have you given?
Well,
You and I had at it last week pretty good about Mediterranean blood and the brothers
it's
and this.
hot, baby. It's hot. It's look, I live it. I live it every day. I can write a book, which I won't, but I live it every day. The problem with Mediterraneans, and this is factual, whether it's Italians or Greeks, ancient Romans, if they're not fighting somebody else, if they don't have a common enemy, they're fighting each other. And that's the truth. That's the fact. You have to have in our culture, you have to have a common enemy, because if you don't, you will turn on. You're going to fight somebody. So it's either going to be your own family members, your own people, or somebody else.
I'm trying to piece it together, having read the 44 pages, and just trying to think this along. Like, if Mama wanted to sell the team and one boy didn't and the other boy did, and there's only one team to sell,
Man.
then that's where you get a soap opera, right? I mean, literally, if they all had resolved and agreed that the team's either good for the family or bad for the family, we're either in and we're going to operate it. They never operated it. They never operated it in a way that professional in the way the Modell family operated the Ravens, in the way I've seen good operators operate franchises, and they never had that instinct about them. So therefore, it's not operated well. But that doesn't mean that John doesn't want the team, because John does want to keep the team. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this happen with mom and pop restaurants. Never mind the money, and the more money that's involved, Nestor, the more it's magnified, because that's when real greed sets in, and everybody's out for themselves at the end of the day. They really are. It's
Mo money, mo problems.
It's human nature. Yeah, I mean, we've seen brothers and sisters and fathers and sons fight over, again, a little mom and pop restaurant that they have. And so this is a mom and pop restaurant. This is a mom and pop baseball operation, and it's a shame that it has to be tried out in public, but that's public records. We have access to it. But the nice thing is the team is competitive. They're fun to watch, and I've been tuning in lately. So hopefully the players can block out some distraction.
Now you told me.
I fish. I look. They're competitive now. They're scratching and clawing, and they're making a great effort. So when they do that, I'll tune in.
All right, we're going to get a little bit more pitching. Luke and I have discussed that all week long. Luke will be on with Dennis as well on Thursday from 3 until 5. The Sunday Sports Voice, of course, rebroadcast on Sunday morning. So you can – I'm getting ready for peach cake. You know, I told Kyle that I'm getting ready for all that, all the good July eating. I'm getting ready for the heirloom tomatoes. We've worked the grill. Bad news on the grill is when you're done with it, you got to clean it, right? Like, so nobody told me that part, that they don't come and clean my grill.
Unlike self-cleaning micro ovens, there's no such thing as a self-cleaning grill. You got to do it yourself. But I just had some peach ice cream the other day. Anything with peaches in it, I'm a sucker for. I just love peaches.
I had a peach crostini the other day, so I'm working that all out. Give me a little fishing report, because I am literally over the next week putting together, and we're going to re-release last year's crab cake tour. All the things I did, videos. You're going to see that coming out to Baltimore Positive during July. Thanks to intern Chloe, who's been a rock star around here this summer for us on the crab cake tour as well. And I'm doing the 31 crab cakes again, and I'm going all over the state. And Sammy Tudor's going to tune into this and tell me I need better pictures for the front of my YouTube pictures. He's going to give me a hard time.
He just sent me some pictures of some flounder he caught, some really nice sized flounder, and he grilled them up and he put the crab meat on top of them. And Sammy's quite a fisherman and quite a chef. He does a great job.
I'm going to bring some capers over there and rock his world is what I'm going to do on the grill. So I'm supposed to go snakehead fishing with Sam Tudor on the trip in the month. I want to go whitewater and do a little casting, a little fly fishing up in the western part with Dan Roderick's son. You and I have talked about doing something. What kind of fishing have you been doing? You more like up at the reservoir on a Sunday morning, nice and simple, right?
Reservoirs, and the 3 beautiful reservoirs in the counties, and fishing them all and catching a lot of bass, big bass, 3, 4, 5 pound range. And saw a snakehead the other day. Didn't catch it, but saw it in the shallows. It was about 3 feet long, and I put on a frog lure, try to catch them, but it was too late. But they're out there. Great time to go fishing. Now they're starting.
A big prize for that, right? I mean, isn't Uncle Larry giving money away for snakehead?
I think he is.
I think seriously, I think there's a contest about snakeheads.
$200 a piece or something like that. But they're supposed to be good eating. So I think the people that are catching or actually drilling them supposed to be a very good eating fish. I tried it. It's not for me. It has a catfish-like consistency. And to me, if I've got to put any breadcrumbs around it, that's not for me. I like grilled fish and with lemon and olive oil and
Goes back
vinegar.
to your Mediterranean thing.
Yeah, some oregano and whatnot. But it's a great time to get out there. The bass are starting to move into deeper water, so you got to get after them in deeper water. But it's just a lot of fun getting out there, getting some vitamin D, staying dark, and just watching nature. You see hawks out there, and eagles, and beavers, and snakes, and frogs, all
I
kind
don't
of
want
great
to see any
things.
snakes. Don't tell where are the snakes? I'm not going there.
Well, you'll see them in the water at Loch Raven. They're out there. They'll leave you alone. The ducks won't though. The ducks, they're beggars. They'll come to your boat looking for bread. So if you have any bread with you, that's what they're looking for.
So if I'm total sincerity here, if in August you and I pick a morning, because I'm putting the schedule together, I'm being serious here, okay? Because I don't think I'm getting you out to Western Maryland and waders for fly fishing. You've never fly fished, right?
Depends on the time of the month. Yeah, that could be available.
First week of August, I'm going west. I've decided. Last year I did the east and Ocean City and the beach and the sand. No, I'm going to go west. I'm going to start the crab cake tour west this time because I felt like there was more to explore out there, and it was
Gotcha.
really beautiful. It was
Well,
beautiful. Western Maryland's beautiful.
First week of August, I want to be in St. Michael's. We have a little function out there, a little 4-day weekend get
Don't eat the
together.
crab cakes over there. Don't whatever you do. I have
Why?
not found a good crab cake in St.
In
Michael's.
St.
Hey,
Michael's?
if you got a great crab cake in St. Michael's, I need to hear about it.
I will find out.
I had the worst crab cake on the tour in St. Michael's.
Wow.
It was so bad that I don't think I'm even going to out where it was because I sent it back. I didn't eat it.
Well,
I took one bite and I'm like, done. No, I'm not eating this.
Well,
Terrible.
We'll have to find out, but it's I'm trying to look at some events around in the area. There's a lot of tidal water fishing, but I prefer lakes and reservoirs. So
okay, so if you and I were to go out, where would you take me? What would our thing be?
I would take it to Loch Raven because we can rent a bass boat for $70. Gives us 3 batteries for the entire day. They have comfortable seats. That's the place to go. It's a huge lake. There's different spots you and I can fish, and I can put you on fish. When I go catching, and I'm not trying to make myself better than what I am, but there's techniques and things you do to increase your odds of catching fish.
See, okay, there it is. You've been out with the pros, right? I mean, you go with that guy on the Potomac. It's a
Ken
big
Penrod.
shot.
Yeah, I go with Ken, and he's a good friend of mine. All 83 years old of him, bless his heart, and he puts me on fish, and he's taught me some things, and I taught him a thing or two as well.
Well, man, everywhere I went in August last year, there were people with rods in water, crossing bridges, streams, rivers, all over this beautiful state. Fantastic. So, like, I don't want to sound like Mr. I'm going to wrap the Maryland flag around me because I do enough of that. And, you know, I'm promoting the lottery. I'm out all over the state doing what I'm doing. It is really a beautiful state. And the one part of putting this together is I loved it last year. I want to love it again this year. How can I love it the most? It's my 31 days. It's my crab cakes. It's my beer. It's my tour. It's my interest. It's my conversations. I want to turn it into something really special again. So the next couple of weeks, I'm putting the effort in to make it awesome. So you got ideas, man. That sounds like a great day. And it sounds like a Baltimore positive thing to say that we're out on a lot. As long as we don't have any snakes, I'm in.
Yeah, we might see a snake, but they won't bother you. But we might get a snake head. How about that? In addition to bass and crappie and bluegill, and they've got a lot of pickerel. I can't keep pickerel off my line, which is a really interesting fish to catch. They're snake-like with big teeth, but they're a lot of fun.
What are they what are they called? Eels?
Yeah, no, it's thicker than an eel, but it's got a jaw. It looks like a muskie. If you ever seen a muskie before.
All right, same thing. I'm going fishing with Dennis. Dennis Koulatsos will also sell you a new or pre-loved vehicle as well. What's going on in the car industry? I mean, when we're talking sports and problems and all that, you getting cars over there in Security Boulevard?
They're trickling in, new cars. And again, my recommendation to everyone out there, if you can order one at MSRP, order one. That's a great deal. It'll get here eventually. It might be 6 weeks, might be 6 months, might be next year. But you have to put your order in. That's the smartest thing to do. That's the way. That way you guarantee yourself a vehicle built to your specifications. When it arrives, if you can't use it, you can probably sell it for a lot more than what you're paying for it. So it's a can't lose scenario. But that's what I would recommend.
Well, I was over in Europe last. It's a European model, right?
Yeah, but Americans, we like instant gratification. We don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for a car, man. We invented everything instant coffee and instant meals, and over there they don't operate that way. So I don't know that Americans are ready to embrace that model. Right now they don't have much of a choice because of lack of inventory. But I do worry that when inventory comes back, I don't know if this model is sustainable.
One thing I noticed just being in Cologne, Germany, this place was war torn 80 years ago, the whole deal, right? The train system that they built there, the rail system, is so complexly beautiful and efficient and
Yep.
clean, and it's just it's a different life. It really, and listen, they got car. I love cars in Germany, right? I mean, they love driving them fast. They like their highways, but from the efficiency model, it's just an amazing thing to see. When people come together, they can build amazing things, right? Like so. But I had a good
We,
time in Europe, but we have the European model, which is order a
yeah.
car. You got to
Yeah,
order a car.
we can learn a lot from other countries, and that's one of them. But they have the public mass transportation figured out better than we do. Some cities like New York, their subway system works, but for us down here in our region, you got to have wheels, or you can't get around.
What's political, in like courage. I always say that when I'm in those New York subways, like who in the 1890s said we're going to dig holes in the ground and move railroad cars through
Yeah,
and get a buy-in from everybody? Not
in
just
the
a buy-in, a put-in.
yeah.
Literally their money being put into this thing that maybe our grandkids will use one day. That's the thing that I marvel when I go to New York and see it.
Oh, but particularly when you realize it's in the basin, right? I mean, there's really nowhere to go. That's why when they have heavy rains or whatnot, you have flooding or whatnot. So it's a unique city. It's unlike any other city in the world. That's a fact.
Well, you do know they have Nasty Nestor night on Friday. This is your big
I
opportunity.
saw that. I saw that. I
I said
hysterical.
there's nothing that will ever get me into a Yankee hat. This would be my. I've never worn the Yankee logo on my body other than if it said "sucks" underneath of it. I think
That's
Ken
right.
Rosenthal gave me one of those back 40 years ago. After a series at Shea Stadium. I don't know what to say. Nasty Nestor's become a phenomenon.
There you go. Hopefully you have a patent on it.
Oh man, where were you in the 90s when I needed you?
That's
He is
right.
Dennis Koulatsos. You can find him on Thursday from 3 until 5 here. You can find him out on the interwebs at the Koulatsos Show, and he's also here on Sunday morning doing the Sunday Sports Voice. And over at Coons Baltimore Ford Security Boulevard, go find him there. Also, our text service has been fired up. If there's anything going on with the Ravens, anything going on with the Orioles, that's going to be happening in the next 6 weeks as we take a little breather from all things Lamar and Ravens, and Dennis can go catch some fish. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore positive.